Hey all, it's Pastor Chris here on Reformation Sunday. I just wanted to take a moment and help you think of a metaphor about grace, right? So God's actions on our behalf. And it's a metaphor that my very first sermon here at St. Stephen, not my call sermon, but the one immediately after that when I was I was your pastor, but I wasn't yet ordained or installed here. It was this whole sort of in-between couple of weeks. And I talked about the difference between if, then, and because, therefore. And it's a way that a lot of Lutherans talk about two ways of being in the world. In fact, two types of religion. Sometimes they call it up religion and down religion. Up religion being that we're trying to work our way up to heaven. We're trying to drag ourselves up to some form of righteousness and connection with God and neighbor. And then down religion, which Lutherans are, which is that God comes down for us. That's why the name Emmanuel, God with us, is just so important for our faith, because we are an incarnational kind of faith. Sorry, I see that there's a little piece of something there. But yeah, we're made of pieces of something, just like that little fuzzy thing that was on the camera there. So anyway, the metaphor that's useful to use is when you talk about up religion, so trying to claw your way up to God in whatever way that happens to be. It's a if-then kind of faith. So if I do this thing, then God, then my neighbor, then whoever will respond in a positive and good way, right? That there's a transaction to it. It's like buying something, essentially. Then the other metaphor, the one that Lutherans see for ourselves, see for what grace is all about, is a because, therefore faith. In this case, because God has acted on our behalf through Jesus Christ, therefore we have been saved. We are made right. We are at one. Atonement, right? That fancy word there. Literally at one-ment with God. And that frees us to become at one with our neighbor. So now that this vertical kind of relationship has been made right, now we get to spend our time figuring out how to make these horizontal relationships with our neighbor made right, and in fact create, because therefore, relationships in this world. So it's not simply the way God interacts with human beings, but in fact how human beings can in fact interact with one another, because when we have been freed from all heaven-storming ambition, we're able to see our neighbors in need right next door. So that's what I got for you. So if then is one way of thinking about faith and thinking about how we live our life together, and because therefore is the other, and that's how we as Lutherans see sort of our world being shaped by God. Because God has acted on our behalf, therefore we have been freed by Christ. God bless.